Motherfucker! Oh!
Oh! Oh! It's fucking gun!
All right, this is absolutely ridiculous. All hell is breaking loose in Washington, D.C. after Trump mobilized the National Guard, then federalized the 4,000 officers within the territory. And this is what Trump wanted. He wanted there to be escalatory tensions throughout the area that he can then use as a pretext to further consolidate power. I want to walk you all through the unmistakable overreach we're seeing from the administration. And yes, crime exists in every single city. The video that I'm about to play of a drunk dude throwing a sandwich at a cop is also pretty dumb. It's dumb and reckless and stupid, but drunk people do dumb things every single day. Literally outside my place, when I went to college, drunk people do dumb things. You don't have to mobilize the National Guard to take care of a city that has a 30-year low in crime where it's just drunk people being drunk. So let's walk through this story. Let's walk through the federal takeover of the Metropolitan Police Department and how that's inflamed tensions throughout the area. This reads, residents protest federal law enforcement in D.C. Tensions flared in Washington, D.C. as residents booed and confronted unidentified federal law enforcement officers stationed in the street to conduct random checks, which isn't in and of itself unconstitutional. It's not inherently unconstitutional to do checks, but it's escalatory and it's unnecessary. So you're claiming that there's a crime spike in D.C., and your long-term fix is to mobilize the National Guard, federalize the police force, and have them do random traffic stops in a rich area. Like, there are areas of certain cities that disproportionately have more crime. It's usually tied to income and wages. They're literally stationed in the more rich areas that have less crime. It's all so dumb, and it's for optics. This then reads, protesters accuse the officers of overreach and intimidation amid growing political unrest. Let's check out this video.
He has a badge, he has insignia, his name on his chest. That's a real cop.
Fuck no!
Go
He harasses citizens, he's not a real cop.
Everybody's booing because they're unidentified, untrained agents who are coming here in an escalatory way. Like with LA, for example, they sent undertrained ICE agents into majority Latino communities just to stir shit up so that when protests, sparked, Trump could then mobilize the National Guard into California. Now, ex-Superman washed-up Hollywood star Dean Cain is an ICE agent for no reason whatsoever. This brings me on to this. It says, police have set up a checkpoint and appear to be stopping every single car on 14th Street. Some cars are being pulled over after being stopped. Some police are wearing HSI police vests, Homeland Security Investigations. I'm just laughing because it's so brazenly absurd. You're getting into fights with drunk college kids on the street while pulling people over that are coming home from work, and that's supposed to stop muggings or something like that. Really quickly, a sponsor that made this video possible, Ground News, has a really interesting perspective. Like, listen to this. On Ground News, it reads, crowd in D.C. outraged by federal law enforcement presence as cars stopped on busy street. But the really brilliant part about Ground News that helps me on a day-to-day basis is the fact that they actually delineate between the sources. So if I scroll out on the Ground News website and I go down, I see Fox News, a right-leaning source. It shows you the factuality and who it's owned by. I see left-leaning sources, centrist sources. It plots them out perfectly and even shows you the biased distribution on the website. They tell you what each side is saying about any given story so you have clarity. So for example, the way that Fox News framed this in their title is, police in DC get yelled at while setting up checkpoint along popular nightlife corridor. So they're saying, oh, the poor police in D.C. are getting yelled at. That is a right-wing publication, of course. A more center publication then says, D.C. residents protest surge in federal police deployment near checkpoints. Isn't it insane how different perspectives cover this story? A more factual, centrist perspective says, hey, D.C. residents are obviously very, very irked by the federal police deployment for no reason. On the other hand, Fox News says, police in D.C. get yelled at. The poor police. Federal agents set up a local checkpoint. So after I saw this on Ground News, I dug into the Fox article, and the whole thing just is really sympathetic towards the undertrained, unidentified, masked officers that are literally harassing random college kids. A video captured protesters in DC yelling at police officers to get off our streets. We'll watch more of the videos, especially the sandwich throwing one. But again, if you want to check out Ground News, click the top link in the description or go to ground.news/am and you can get 40% off the Vantage plan. That's the plan that I use. So click the top link in the description, and thank you to Ground News. All right, let's check out this video of people booing Trump officials conducting random checks.
Real cop. He has a badge. He has insignia, and he has his name on his chest. That's a real cop.
Fuck no! He harasses citizens, he's not a real cop!
I love the power of the people. I love democracy, and I know that things are grim and democracy is being eroded day by day, but there are still so many avenues for us to go out there and have our voice heard. Whether it's booing Trump officials, whether it's voting in the midterms, or even every single day checking the news and making sure that we're on top of things. I want to show you this Subway sandwich video, but I think it's really important to point out that Attorney General Pam Bondi thought it was appropriate to use her official government account to target this drunk dude who threw a sandwich. She said, "If you touch any law enforcement officer, we will come after you." Really? You guys pardoned all of the J6ers who beat the shit out of cops. I'm so sick of the gaslighting. In fact, like large portions of the Trump admin are people who were there on Jan 6. Unearthed photos here show Trump's nominee for the BLS commissioner was part of the J6 insurrection. What about the new leaked video showing Department of Justice officials, a current Department of Justice official who was handpicked by Trump 4 years ago yelling to kill cops? Literally yelling to kill cops. So Attorney General Pam Bondi felt the need to use her own account, her like government AG account, to point out that this drunk guy threw a Subway sandwich at a cop, which honestly, you want my honest take? Yeah, it's dumb. Don't do that. Please don't do that. They will arrest you, and it is illegal. You can not even like throw water on a cop or put your hands on a cop. Do not do that. Don't do that. But let's watch this drunk guy doing it because it's kind of entertaining.
You see these fascists right here in our
Fascists?
Fuck you! Fuck you, fascists! Shame!
See, this part's a lot more effective. Yelling at them is not illegal, and that's why it's actually more powerful because they're forced to just walk away. But the second that you touch them, you give them a justification to arrest you.
Shame! Shame! Shame!
Y'all laughing, but that's the truth though. We really talking real shit. No! No, no, no! Bro! It's not working. Fuck them, bro. Stop the drama! Little blue! It's not fucking working! Come on, Brian!
Fight the fucking crowd, man.
Make a fucking way! You busy? Motherfucker! Oh! 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 It's fucking done! It's fucking done!
This drunk dude who threw a Subway sandwich is now going to be used by every single Republican for the next 3 years to point to crime in DC never being this bad. Trump himself will probably mobilize the Air Force over DC and close down the airspace because he thinks that there is no crime that's been committed near the Capitol that has been this heinous. Obviously, I'm being hyperbolic, but not really. What Trump does is they point out these small edge cases that like my college frat bro probably would also do when he was drunk. And they use that to mobilize the National Guard or to federalize the troops. We now have Attorney General Pam Bondi making statements about it on her Attorney General account. And we have articles from the New York Times reading man charged with assaulting federal agent with sandwich in D.C. Again, there are a lot of things you can do. You can yell, you can do a lot of things, but as soon as you throw something, it does get closer to assault. I can't tell at this point, is this good or bad for Subway? Because they have these photos of him standing there in front of the Subway sign. Is this like good marketing? I'm kind of hungry for a Subway sandwich now. A man accused of throwing a sandwich at federal agents who was patrolling Washington this week, calling them fascists, was arrested. He threw a sub-style sandwich, yelling shame at them. Let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. Obviously, Donald Trump is overreaching, and there's a nuanced stance that we can take here. Listen, my friend gave me an interesting perspective. He said, of course Trump is overreaching, but a lot of people in the United States who don't consume politics on a daily basis, they look at crime on one hand, like people who commit crimes and steal and carjack and murder, and they see that as more scary than the U.S. military. So yes, the U.S. military being deployed by the executive branch is scary, but if most people don't understand the context of the power overreach, they'll view the military as less scary than crime. So that's when the onus is on us to point out, hey, crime in D.C. is at a 30-year low. It's not just an opinion, it's the city's own data. Donald Trump doesn't have the ability to mobilize the National Guard for more than 30 days, and he's beginning to stretch these deadlines to consolidate power. There are a lot of nuanced takes that we can give where we say, listen, crime is bad. Of course crime is bad, but crime is nowhere near where Republicans are claiming it is. Also, a strong point is that if Trump were really worried about crime, we would see the National Guard walking through the streets of Alabama or Louisiana. If Trump cared about crime, he would target the red states that are equally as bad as the territory of D.C. The point is, it's not hard to say crime is bad. That's the easiest bullet to bite, but there's more nuanced arguments to give. I'll leave it there. Make sure you guys drop a like. Make sure you subscribe to the Adam Mockler feed. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.